Can you talk about what a weekend this was for the city of Oakland? Yesterday the parade, and now today this. What was it like?
Unprecedented. We've won a championship before, but I don't think we won a championship and had a fight at the same week. Same week or same weekend. So yeah, it's unprecedented. It's something that I don't think has ever happened before, and I love it because we don't get a lot of respect for some reason. The Bay Area as a whole, and Oakland specifically, but more so the Bay Area. People just, they want to look over us. I mean, you look at Steph, like 2-3 years ago, they were arguing if he was even an all-star player. I mean, they were really saying, he's good, but, and then a couple years later, I mean, he's done what he's done, and it's the same in my career. Like, people wonder why, I stay so hungry. It's because no matter what I accomplish, I always got this underdog type of mentality, because there's always that he's good, but he's this, but. And when you get enough buts, that gets you hungry enough to, always want to come out and give your best. So this is unprecedented. It's needed for our city. It's a lot of negative press that comes out of here. Some of it is warranted, some of it isn't. But for this to take place, for our city and for the Bay Area to be worldwide center stage is unbelievable. Kind of long-winded tonight, my bad.
Any other questions?
It's been a minute.
Hey, congratulations on your win. I just wanted to ask you real quick. You were extremely dominant, hitting him with a lot of pinpoint shots, and he seemed to want to trade here and there. But were you surprised that he wasn't as aggressive as you might have expected? Because I know you don't consider him a tune-up. You take every opponent serious. Were you surprised that he wasn't aggressive enough? He wasn't using his jab at all on how he came at you?
I just think it's kind of the storyline for most of my fights, I think, I'm going to back up a little bit. I think this guy, and no disrespect to Paul Smith, but I think you saw how big he was tonight, right?
Right.
He probably was 190 pounds tonight. I was 180 pounds. I don't think he tried to make weight. And I think that was part of his strategy, was to come in and try to, muscle me and just land one big shot. But I think guys get in there, and there's nothing about me that's scary. I don't have a body where people are like, oh my God, but they get in there and it's just a little bit different than what they see on television. So I think he got in there and he realized that, I was a little bit stronger and was hitting harder than he realized. So I think he just thought twice. So yeah, I was a little surprised he wasn't as aggressive.
If I could also ask Andre, did this bring back any memories of Edwin Rodriguez, the same tactics?
Yes, it's deja vu all over again, all over again. And that's why I'm starting to think this may be a strategy for guys. And I'm gonna talk to my team and try to figure out, how can we, offset that, because some guys don't have a problem paying a fine if they can come in bigger and hope to land a big shot. And I'm putting myself in danger where these guys are 10 or 15 pounds heavier than me on fight night. So we got to figure that out. But yes, I think deja vu all over again.
Thank you, Andre. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Andre, who's next? You want the Golovkin, or who do you want next?
My bed at home, sleep, chill.
After that, after you go to bed, who do you want next?
Hey, you know what? With normal circumstances, if the landscape was the way it's supposed to be, where fighters were fighting to actually fight, they were trying to get at each other, I could answer that question. But because it's been like pulling teeth to get some of these guys in the ring, I'm going to say what I've always been said. I'm available. Period. I'm available. I'm not chasing guys. I'm not calling guys out. I'm not doing it. And I'm not going back and forth on the internet. I'm going to say what I got to say. I'm done with it. These guys, they won the internet battle. I throw up the white flag. They can have it. I don't want it. I'm available like I've always been available. And that goes for anybody. So we'll see if I'm going to go up to light heavyweight. And that's the same in light heavyweight. If I stay at 68, it's the same as 68. So it's hard to just pinpoint one person, because I don't know if these guys really want to fight.
We kind of touched on that, Andre, as far as this fight was at 72 and coming back, he looked sharp. But could you, saying that you can possibly move up to 75, what about 68? Could you still go back down there?
Yeah, I can make 68. My team just wanted this fight at 72 because it's been such a long layoff. So it was almost like, why stress your body to get there if you don't have to? It's not easy making weight, but it's not fun. But I'm not, hurting myself to make the weight. But I'm in the process now of did a little work with Mackie Shieldstone. I went out to New Orleans to talk to him. He obviously has a track record with Roy Jones, Bernard Hopkins, moving those guys up in weight. You know, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it right. So he's taking me through a battery of tests just to see where my body fat is, where my lean muscle mass is, and to see if it's safe to make 68 or if it's safe to go up, because when we go up, we gotta stay up. So we gotta make sure it's the right move to make. And then Verge, and he knows me. And ultimately, he and I gotta sit down and I gotta say, what do you think? So in the next week or so, we'll sit down and we'll try to make that decision, and hopefully it's the right decision to make.
And I'll follow up for Dave, and maybe both of you guys can answer this one. This is your first fight with Andre under the Rock Nation banner, and I know how important it is. You know, Andre's right now, he's back, he's still in the prime of his career. How do you make the #2 pound-for-pound fighter in the world into that global icon, into that pay-per-view superstar that he wants to be?
Well, it's like I said before, you know, people throw around global superstar and they throw around pay-per-view star. I've been a professional for 10 years. And there's a Mexican-American and there's an American who have broke through that barrier in the 10 years that I've been a professional. That's Oscar De La Hoya, that's Floyd Mayweather. Everybody else came from another country and brought their fan base with them. Miguel Cotto, Felix Trinidad, Manny Pacquiao, Canelo Alvarez. There are no pay-per-view stars right now from America outside of Floyd Mayweather. So that's not something we can just throw around and say, well, when are you going to do it? It just doesn't happen like that. A lot of things went right for Floyd to get to the position he got in. He had his Arturo Gatti, his first pay-per-view. He had his Carlos Baldomir, his Zab Judah, his Oscar De La Hoya, his Ricky Hatton. I wish I had those kind of rivals and those kind of opponents. I don't. So you can't make that happen. We just got to continue to fight, continue to win, and it has to happen, because the thing is this, you're not a pay-per-view star because you participate in a pay-per-view, right? You're a pay-per-view star when you command the A side of a pay-per-view, no matter who you fight. Time in and time out. So it's not an impossible thing to do, but I get asked that question, like, we would love for that to happen, but I need the right dancing partner, I think, first. And then I just think it's a fight that the fans have to demand, the media. You guys have to demand it and put pressure on these guys. And then it's something that's going to draw interest where a cable network like HBO will say, this has to be pay-per-view. So that's the long answer for me. It's not like these things don't just happen.
You just too good, champ.
It takes a lot of time. So, but hopefully we're closer than we've ever been. Hopefully I mean, I feel like my side is ready. I just think we need the right dancing partner. And then we can get our first one under our belt, then we can move on and say, okay, let's get some more.
Andre, I got a question.
Did that answer?
You answered it definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to get Dave's thoughts on that.
I think Andre, he gave a great answer. Becoming a pay-per-view star is not something that you sprinkle dust on someone and it happens. It's something that happens over years, and it involves chemistry, and it involves the right opponents, and it involves a little bit of luck. And as he said, Floyd had a pretty good path to doing it. Andre's opponent path isn't what I would say is as easy of a star build as Floyd's was. So you have to work with what's out there and with what's in front of you. We're going to put him into our engine at Rock Nation, which I think gives him an advantage over other fighters out there in terms of branding and marketing and exposure. And we'll take the fights as they come. And if they become pay-per-view fights, that's great. They become pay-per-view fights, and Andre makes a lot of money, and everybody's happy. But if he continues to fight on HBO and he makes a great living for himself, that's great too. I mean, no one's saying that the pinnacle of success in boxing is that you're a pay-per-view star. You can accomplish a lot without doing that. But obviously, look, it would be great icing on the cake for him if it were to happen.
And it's tough. Floyd Mayweather made it hard for us. Like, now it's Floyd or bust. And we have to enjoy what Floyd has done, because that may never be done again for a very long time. I mean, I got some posters in my gym, and I forgot that those fights were pay-per-view fights, like Jermaine Taylor, Hopkins, all of them, right? Tarver Hopkins. And it's like today, I don't even know if they would put those fights, like, if me and Chad fought back then, that's a pay-per-view fight. If me and Kovalev fought then, that's a pay-per-view fight right now. It's just different. Floyd changed the landscape and changed the game, so we got to kind of play accordingly.
Andre, the landscape is totally different now because if you look, I think it's a good time for you to come back. You come back at a great time because you think about it. Boxing is more exposed than ever. It's coming on just regular TV, just like regular sports used to, just like boxing used to. And high-profile guys, quote unquote. You saw what happened to Bronner tonight.
What happened?
He didn't see. He was fighting.
Right. So it doesn't mean that you rule the internet, you rule the ring, and you are back is you're undefeated. So that's what's important. And going forward, we all have the question: who you're going to fight next? I heard you tell Golovkin's people it was no problem that you're available. As far as your career is concerned here in Oakland, do you see yourself fighting anywhere outside of Oakland to do these fights? Or
I mean, if you think about it, I got 28 fights. I've only fought here 7 times. I mean, if you think about it, it's 21 times elsewhere. But I'm not going to apologize for fighting at home. Some guys fight exclusively at home and nobody says anything. But, so I'm trying to figure that out. That's easy math. I fought here 7 or 8 times and I got 28 fights. But I'm not going to turn this into a pity party or nothing, but I've always been held to a different standard. It's just what it is. This guy can fight this level of competition. Oh my God, he's the next. I fight a Paul Smith. What is he doing? Why is he fighting Paul Smith? You know what I'm saying? Like, so I got a dynamite team behind me. Antonio Leonard, Rock Nation, James Prince, Josh Dubin. My team is together. All I gotta worry about is fighting. They're gonna do their part. People are gonna write what they write. We're gonna be gracious to them. We're not gonna get caught up in the nonsense going back and forth. God bless you. Oh, God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. We're just gonna keep doing what we do because when my time is up, I'm moving on to the next chapter of my life. You know, Floyd is doing what he's doing, and we may never reach his pinnacle, but it's a lot of guys having great careers in between there, building legacies, making great livings, affecting people's lives, role models, you know, getting out of bad situations, and boxing gave him a better life. So I know Floyd set the bar high. Just appreciate that. But man, in between that's a lot of good stuff going on. It's a lot. I mean, look at Broner and Sean. I mean, those guys, they risk a lot tonight putting that on the line. Same thing me and Chad Dawson did. Like, I just came off the Super 6. I could have parlayed that for a little bit, but I went and fought him, and he fought me, and you know what I'm saying? So it's great things happening in the sport, and I think we just need to look at that and appreciate it. Just appreciate it.
You had a long layoff. How did your body feel in the early rounds? Any ring rust?
I felt, my conditioning felt good. I wasn't even breathing. I was really surprised. I felt great. My team did a great job getting me in shape and getting me ready. But I know that it's another level that I can be at where I'm not thinking about anything. There's another level of sharpness, being crisp, and just flowing where I'm just doing stuff and didn't even think about it. And that comes from just consistency and getting in the ring. So I felt like I did good tonight, but I know I got better.
Andre, at the end of the 8th round, it seemed like you and Paul had exchanged some words. Would you mind telling us exactly?
I don't know if we talk. I don't know if we exchanged words. I just
Glances,
yeah, we kind of had a standoff, and you know, it's moments in a fight where it's a lot of little battles in the midst of the big battle, and nobody wants to give in. Nobody wants to show weakness. Nobody wants to. So he looked at me, and I'm looking at him like, "What you looking at?" And he didn't want to go back to his corner, and I wasn't going back to my corner, and the fans got excited. But it's nothing personal. It's two competitive guys. Adrenaline is pumping. We're in a fight, and we're getting it on. You know, but at the end of the day, we can shake hands, and I'm happy this man gets to go home to his family, and I get to go home to mine. So it's just part of the sport. It's just part of it. Nothing personal. Just get the fans excited.
I have a 2-part question.
Say it again.
It was definitely brought in a nice.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it spills over, you know.
Hi, Andre. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I have a two-part question. Who made the decision to have Steph Curry carry the belt into the ring? And the other question is I heard someone say at the weigh-in yesterday, what does SOG stand for? So can you expound on that and talk about what your faith means to you?
I don't know who made the decision for Steph to come out. I think Steph talked to my friend Christopher here at the parade and said, you know, I want to be at the fight and I want to walk, you know, to the ring, and I appreciate that. SOG is simple. It's an acronym for Son of God. It speaks about my faith in God. Galatians 3:26 says, and I'm paraphrasing, but basically you are all sons of God through faith in Jesus Christ. So it's just my way of just representing my faith and sort of preaching without saying a word. I don't think, you know, Terminator, Destroyer, or Killer would be a appropriate name for me. So I think SOG fits me, and I love it. And I think people like it too.
Also, see if anyone has any questions for Paul.
Paul, anything you want to say?
No, it's just, again, you know, I've said all week, we've been really looked after. We've been made to feel welcome. Even the reception tonight, walking to the ring. But, you know, we've had a good time. Andre's a quality operator, and I knew that getting in there, and I knew I'd have some moments here and there, and it was my chance to try and capitalise on them. But he's a quality fighter, the best of being in me, and he's proven tonight to me, which I already knew, why he's the best in the division. And hats off to him, full respect to him, and I wish him all the best for the future.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Any more questions?
Any questions? Paul, how would you rate Ward's power?
You're asking me what I'm sitting next to him. He's got no gloves on now. Listen, he can punch. There was times in the fight when I felt he was really. It's not pure power. It's speed with it, and speed kills. You know, and I have a good defence, and it helped me out tonight, because if I didn't have that, you know, I would have walked onto some of them shots which are coming. But you know, he's certainly no light puncher by any means. He's, as I said, time and again, you know, he's a quality operator.
Carl Frost said I punched like a feather duster, though. Somebody's not telling the truth.
Could you explain a little bit about the weight struggle? You're about 4.5 pounds over.
I said to Andy, you know, it was a genuine mistake. And speaking of which, Carl Frost, I spoke to Carl about 2 weeks before we were coming out. We were working together for the media on a show in the UK. He said to me, be careful with water retention, because when you fly over there, you know, your body just doesn't release the water. And I thought, no, I'm okay. And it got me. You know, it was a genuine mistake. I told Andy that. I apologised to the team. I said time and again, you know, I am professional. I just got it really wrong that night, that day for the weigh-in, and it was a genuine mistake, my fault, and I held my hands up to it. And also, as well, I've been told to say as well, which I really do appreciate, Team Ward and Andy have made a very kind gesture to me about the fine, you know, which I've been fined. It's all sorted, and really appreciate it again. Thank you.
I have a question for Paul. After you fought Alfred Ward, what do you think, actually for Eddie as well, what do you think a fight between Carl Frost and Andre Ward would be like, the rematch?
I think it all, being a Brit and knowing Carl and knowing all about him, I think it all depends on him and if he wants to fight. You know, it's if he wants to come back and fight again. He's made a good bit of money fighting. He sold Wembley Stadium out, made a lot of money, and he's been winning everyone apart from Andy. So, you know, if I was in Carl's position, I would want to fight Andy again to try and avenge that loss, but it's an uphill task, you know, so it's down to Eddie and Carl. I don't know what Carl's frame of mind is or what he's going to do with his future.
Paul, at any point during the fight, did you think that you were going to be able, in your corner strategy, did you think you were going to be able to walk Andre Ward down, and just at one point you were pretty much following him, and the straight jab was going through, the right hand started going straight through your defense. Did you still think that you were going to be able to land that one punch?
You know, we said before this, every question I was asked was about his ring rust. It wasn't ever me saying he's going to be rusty, it was people saying, do you think he will? And I did, and I thought he'd need a few rounds to ease into a fight, or I thought he'd have a good first few 6 rounds, 5-6 rounds, and then maybe start to fade a little bit and I'd keep at it. But I just kept plugging away and just kept trying and trying, but it just wasn't to be. You know, it's just one of them things. As I said time and again, he's a quality operator and he's hard to break down. That's why he's where he is.
Is there any reason why your corner didn't seek to make any type of adjustments during the fight? You had 9 rounds. And
we knew it was only going to be small moments in the fight. You know, we know that because of Andre, not because of me or because of anyone else, because of Andre Ward and how he fights. You name me one person that he's fought that's had a good night with him. You fight his fight, he beats you, and you know that's Andre Ward. He drags you down to his fight. I'm not saying down, he may drag you up, but he drags you into his fight and he makes it his fight. And that's the thing where everyone seems to fall for when you're fighting. That's why he's where he is.
Well, we thank you for coming across the pond. And
thank you for having me. I really appreciate
Any
it.
final questions?
You.
Andre had said before you came in that people will fight him and they get in the ring and it's a little bit different from what they've seen on TV. Were you surprised by what was actually going on in the ring relative to your expectations?
In honesty, no, because I expected it. I know what he is, I know what he's got, and I've watched him, time and again. You know, there's no denying it. You know, I do a similar job to what Andy does back home on TV for Sky Sports in the UK. I have to break fights down now, and you do learn a lot more when you're standing back and watching it. I know all about Andre Ward, so for me to get in there and be surprised with what he had, I'd have been very naive, and I wasn't. I knew what he had, and I knew I'd have some small moments, and I had to take them when I got them, but it just wasn't to be.
Thank you.
I have a question from a small fan here. How does it feel to be back after 18 months?
Feels good, man. Feels good, champ. It feels good. It's like David said, we don't have to talk about ring rust anymore. You know, we can talk about what's next. So I'm excited about that, and you know, I just want to take my hat off to Paul because you know, it's difficult to fight just in general, but it's difficult to come across the pond and come from, you know, another country to fight another guy in his backyard, and for any guy to be willing to do that, man, I just take my hat off to him, and he just deserves a lot of respect. And he didn't come in here to lay down. I knew that if we stopped him, we were going to have to make him stop. You know, it's going to have to be something drastic. It couldn't be just him getting hit a couple times. And he was throwing hard punches. He was trying to win, and I respect him for that. And sometimes, you know, a guy like Paul doesn't get credit because he didn't win, but the fact that he took this fight and came over here, it's not an easy thing in and of itself, and then getting in the ring and trying to win is a whole nother story. So just a lot of respect, bro. I appreciate you coming over, man. And,
oh yeah, Andre, you're trending right now on Twitter.
We said that. Dave said it.
Yeah, right now.
Alright, well, I guess get these guys out of here home to rest and eat and sleep, be with their families. We thank all of you for coming again, and we will see you soon.
Thank you, guys.